For Honor's second season has been met with a mixed reception. The Centurion and Shinobi are both topics of contention, some believing that both characters are leaps and bounds above the original roster of 12, others feeling the opposite. Whatever the case is, they're here to stay, and for now, they are what they are. Today, we're going to look at some good and bad moments I've had with the Centurion and Shinobi. First up, we're going Shinobi versus Lawbringer. We've got one of the highest health classes in the game versus one of the lowest. So if we can dodge the most versatile weapon in the world, then we will be able to slowly chip away at the man that is wielding it. Our kick is going to miss, and then the Lawbringer are going to follow up with a guard break and a relentless assault, and it doesn't look like our evasion is where it needs to be. So we're going to get eliminated pretty fast, but that was obviously just really bad. So let's try that again against the Lawbringer. This time we're going in for a trip, and we will successfully land 2 light attacks afterwards and then a guard break. So you can see we're off to a much different start. We do not have a health lead yet, and already we're seeing the difference in hit points is becoming phenomenally clear. A few attacks from me barely scratched the Lawbringer. Meanwhile, one side heavy has put me in a very dangerous situation, but that's all going to turn around after landing a sickle rain combination, trying to get an execution to be fancy, but the deal was more or less sealed regardless. Something that I always find enjoyable is pitting a new character that's overpowered versus an old character that's overpowered. So this time it is Shinobi versus Warden. The sprinting attack going to come out very quickly, doing a kick, but it is going to whiff. The shoulder bash missed as well, but a light attack connected and he followed up, and we got caught in a very deadly vortex, and already our health is pretty much gone. We're going to roll away to create some space, but we're not using it for anything tactical. We're going to start crying, but the Warden does not have any time for our tears. He's gonna put the hilt in our face. And just to be clear, this is not some science experiment where I'm trying to prove that the Shinobi isn't as powerful as we all think. We're just going for a ride on the struggle bus and having a good time together. And I think the Orochi is gonna join us on the struggle bus as well. So let's move on to the next fight. Just like with the Lawbringer, we are going to have a chance at redemption against the Warden. So we're sprinting in, going for a kick right away, draining a considerable amount of stamina, but the shoulder bash going to come out. But fortunately for me, a tombstone for one of the Viking ancestors is going to protect me, Valhalla. Maybe there is a place there for a member of the samurai faction, because from the looks of things, I am going to need it, because a big top heavy followed by a zone attack is going to put me in the ground. And just because the Orochi's still alive, we may as well get invested in him. He's a bit of an underdog here, so let's see if he can make something happen. He's only got 1 bar of health left and a little bit of a sliver, but I've seen stranger things happen before. He's going into that Storm Rush stance, but not going to do anything about it. And now he's turning tail and running. This is a bit of a meme here. He's... You know, I mean, there's no support coming for him. I'm dead. I've refused to revive. He's going back to the bridge. Now he's got an enemy in the front, an enemy in the back. There's really nowhere for him to go except in the river. So that's going to be game over for the both of us. After having played with and against the Shinobi and Centurion for a little over a week now, I'm starting to realize that what makes them so powerful and so difficult to fight against is the fact that they are overwhelming. When they get going, they do not stop. Shinobi versus Centurion, both of us have the opportunity to get some really big combo chains going on here, but it's not going to happen for me because my back is going to get rubbed against some very hot water. I think the real damage that's done has been done to the gi. I don't know if that thing is dry clean only, but if it is, it's been ruined. So that really wasn't a good showcase of the power of the Centurion or the Shinobi. That was really the power of Mother Nature. So this time, let's see if either of us can do something a bit different. Throwing out a ranged guard break, but it will get dodged. The kick going to get dodged, deflecting one of the light attacks from the Centurion, landing a successful guard break, feinting a heavy attack into another guard break, backflipping out of the way, throwing a ranged guard break, and chopping him up for the finish with a heavy attack. So that right there is the perfect example of overwhelming someone with just a lot of moves that seem to never end. The deflect from the Shinobi is a bit disorienting because he disappears and teleports behind you, and feinting into a guard break, no matter how good you get at the game, sometimes you're just going to fall for the trick, and then backflipping into a ranged guard break. There are a lot of different options that can come out of that. It could just be a reset to neutral, or it could be a standard attack, or it could be a guard break. So you have to think, which one is my opponent going to do and how do I respond accordingly. We're going to finish off this section about overwhelming characters with one more fight between the Shinobi and the Centurion, using the sprinting heavy attack, but it is going to get dodged and we will get guard broken and take a serious amount of stamina damage, getting the deflect again and following up with a guard break. That's not a guaranteed maneuver, but again, it's disorienting to have your opponent just disappear. Now the backflip did create some space, but it drained all of our stamina. Getting hit by the fully charged uppercut is going to put us on our ass, and the health bars are pretty even at this point. The fight could go either way. If we get hit with a fully charged heavy attack, we're going to be done for. The Centurion doing a great job of keeping me completely drained of stamina, which means I can't use the double dash, but I still can get a deflect. But while you're out of stamina, the deflect does not have that teleporting property. But now both of us are in the gray, so neither of us can do much of anything. My stamina going to recharge first, going for that kick. Unfortunately, we won't get an execution to finish him off, but still, sometimes you just can't go out with style. Now, regardless of how you feel about the Shinobi and the Centurion and whether they're too powerful or too weak, they do provide some interesting solutions to the overly defensive nature of the game. The Shinobi's kick, although it is reactable, it's very difficult to dodge, which means you have the choice whether you want to be offensive or defensive, as opposed to just feeling like every time you attack you're going to get punished. And unfortunately there, my guard break did get countered, which drug me to the ground, but my opponent not going to be fast enough with his heavy attack to respond to it. My guard break going to get countered again, but this time the top heavy is going to come out just fast enough, landing a deflect, following it up with a kick and a ranged grab, starting that sickle rain combo, but we didn't have enough to finish it, so we opted for a backflip instead, which reset us to a more neutral position where we were able to regen without the fear of getting bashed by a shield. And we are going to finish it off with a kick and then a heavy attack. Next up, we're going Shinobi versus Valkyrie, and I've heard a lot of people say that she's one of the most well-balanced characters in the game, and I have to agree. Landing a successful deflect, going for a light attack follow-up, and then a guard break, but that will get teched. And now we have no stamina, which means we're in a very dangerous spot. We could get caught in her pseudo vortex there, but we teched out of her guard break. We're trying to react instead of going off of instinct. We're going to get hit with that jumping attack, but we deflected the second light attack, trying to do that feint into guard break thing, but it's not gonna work, and we got caught while dodging, and a spear was put through our heart. Now let's watch this again in slow motion so we can talk about the fact that the Shinobi's main strength, which is his range and his mobility, are simultaneously his biggest weakness. When you're fighting up close with someone, especially when you're at this low amount of health, you want to get away, you want to use your dodges, and if people anticipate that, they will catch you and they will give you a heartburn so severe that not even Pepto-Bismol could cure it. We're going to close things out with some rounds from the perspective of the Centurion. My favorite part about this character is that he can switch between fast and slow whenever he wants to. So we're starting off the Valkyrie going into that shield crush, but it will get dodged and she'll get punished by a guard break and landing the fully charged heavy attack. But unfortunately, even though we had her pinned, we didn't charge up our jab enough to get the knockdown. We did drain her out of stamina, but no punishment is going to come out of that. Another shield crush comes out. This time we go for two quick heavy attacks, followed by a quick jab and a light attack. And then the Leonidas special is going to send her into the ground. Alright, and we've got one more. This time it is Centurion versus Centurion. We get to see two different styles of this character. We go for a kick, trying to follow up with a heavy attack, but it missed, but the guard break will connect, going for that quick jab, two light attacks, but the second one will get parried. My opponent, on the other hand, going for those big wombo combos. He landed the fully charged uppercut and knocked my ass to the ground, landing a successful guard break. The feints from the Centurion are very tricky, and that's when it goes from slow slow to fast? Do you think he's gonna just send out this raw, big attack, or is he gonna feint and get a successful guard break? So for now though, the quick play style is giving us a huge advantage over our opponent. We landed another kick, going for that heavy attack, not gonna charge it up all the way. We whiffed 2 light attacks, trying to get the big finish with the fully charged heavy, but we got interrupted, and that's the danger of trying to charge up those attacks. You don't have any sort of super armor to defend yourself. Trying to get the Leonidas special again, but the kick missed, but a dodge is going to ensure that our guard break is untechable, and we will send our fellow Roman ruffian into the ground as well. So there we go. There was a lot more Shinobi gameplay than Centurion, but my goodness, is it fun to punch people in the face. But on that note, the name of the game is Chivalry Medieval Warfare. I'm just kidding, it's For Honor. You know this by now. It was in the title of the video. The name of the channel is iBluairJgR Gaming for Comedy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.